going on, everybody? In today's video, what are we doing and what are we talking about? Today's video, I'm giving you guys a tour of the new lab, the new digs, right? So you guys will be getting a full tour of my work area, lab setups that I have for doing soldering work, robotics, game development areas for when I work on some of the hardware, and as well as some of the source code, programming stations, and of course just all the storage that I have. But I'll be just sharing with you guys the layout that I have and how I've got everything set up. So without further ado, let's get started. Here we go. Okay, so before we start the tour, I just want to give you guys a quick little update on the Acclaim ArtSend cartridge project that I've been working on. This is the development cartridge Acclaim used during the development of the TUROK games. So as you guys can see, what a frickin' mess. I got all this equipment out here and I've had it out here for a while since I did the demo on the Dr. V64. And I'm working with some code, working with the SCSI bus analyzer, as you guys can see here, because that unit, on the back of it, there's a DB25 port with a high-speed SCSI interface. And so I'm currently working with that as well with some code. And here I've got a PC where I'm using different SCSI cards. And I've been doing some testing, writing some software, using the old Windows 98 machines, using Visual Studio 6. So it's a little kind of chaotic, but it is really, really cool being able to work with this and just slowly getting things working. So it's super exciting. I'm really pumped to get all of this working, but it's in the works. So today, a tour of my whole lab area here, the new digs, the new setup. Okay, so if we pull back the camera here a little bit, you'll see some of the behind-the-scenes hardware that I have set up. It's a series of just different stands that I have for supporting all the different gear that I have, whether it be preview monitors. We have tripods here for a lighting kit that I have. That's an aperture lighting kit. There's microphone stands, as you can see there. That's my Rode shotgun mic, which is really awesome. It's served me quite well. I've had it for quite a while. And there's just some other gear there being stored under the table. A good old fashioned 80s ghetto blaster that I've been fixing for a friend, so it's kind of cool to see. This here is my Zoom H4n digital audio recorder. This is a really fantastic little unit that I got a while back, and it's served me quite well. It has XLR inputs for hooking up different microphones, and even has phantom power. So it's a really great little unit. This right here, this is my TV Logic broadcast monitor, and I use this for previewing all the different cameras that I use. Depending on the setups that I have, and it's a multi-format monitor, so it does both NTSC and PAL, which is really cool. A little shout out there to Pearl Export Pro series owners, any drummers out there, just repurposing a ride stand there. And my aperture lighting kit that I got off Amazon. These are really great little units. Hiding in behind here is the development kit for the 3DS. This is the Intelligent Systems Snake Box. This is another tease here for all you 3DS fans, but rest assured, a video hardware demo for this kit is coming. So it's in the works. So if we pan out here a little bit, you'll see some of the workbenches that I have and my programming stations, all the monitors there for doing source code, and some of the robotics there that I have. And that's a CRS Plus laboratory robotic arm unit, and some of the hobby work that I do is with that. And as well in the background is just all the different storage containers that I have, lots of boxes there. Mainly a lot of electronic components and test equipment for doing all the work that I do in repair. And shown further below, there's some more robotics equipment, test gear, and as well all of the different toolboxes that I have. There's quite a few of them there. This is my field technician's toolbox that I built myself. I used a Fitel Fusion Splicer hard case, and these are really, really rugged hard cases that are used for different fiber optic equipment. I gutted the foam from this unit and installed some tool inserts, which is really great, and it's perfect for doing field repair work. And I use this kit all the time. Right now it's serving the purpose of holding all my tools based on the fact that I don't have a pegboard in the lab. It holds pretty much everything I'll need on site depending on the job that I'm working on. And I have precision screwdrivers, different types of cutters and pliers, wrenches, that type of thing. And a cool thing that I always like to have is a pair of these cheap little walkie-talkies, which are really great if you need to relay between a customer or other technicians on site. Removing the bottom insert, you can see that there's lots of storage space. These X-Lite kits are pretty awesome. I use them all the time on various robotic systems and other hardware that I'm repairing. From precision screwdrivers, pliers, channel locks, wire cutters, crimpers, you name it, I've got it in this case. So the lab tables that I have set up, I've configured them in a T again, which is the same as I had in my last place. I have my soldering station at the back as well as programming. And if we put the camera up here just a little higher so you can see, I've got a table right down the center of the room. And so it forms this T shape. And this is really handy depending on the equipment that I'm working on. And so it allows me to have access to both sides of the table. And for hooking up cables or interfacing different test equipment from the soldering bench, that's really handy. And then down the end here I've got some development equipment and the robotic arm unit. So I have a shelving rack with a really cool Einstein poster that I got from my brother. A really cool gift that he got, and I actually put a backlight in it, which is pretty cool. This shelf I primarily store all of my game development equipment, and as well you can see there's a small pneumatic compressor that I have, and that provides air pressure to the pneumatics control board, which I have mounted on the side of the shelf. And you guys will remember that from the last lab tour that I gave. I did a detailed explanation on how that worked. So this is my main programming station, where I have a series of different monitors there with different computers, where I do all my C source code programming, Python, and even VHDL for some of the Altera boards that I work with. My main table here, you can see I've got a bunch of different gear, some notebooks, little composite video monitor, and as well my NU64 flash gang writer, which I use to dump these N64 development flash cartridges. I've also got a few retail carts just for scale. I also have a military PDA. I've got a bunch of these, and I use these for doing RS-232 testing. Some Altera development boards for doing all of my VHDL work. And all along the back side there, I've got a series of different cables, adapters, more just miscellaneous than anything. If we pan over to the left, we have the center workbench. And this is where I do a lot of the development work with different game development kits. We actually pan back here. You can see I've got another Altera development board here. The one on my main table there, that's an Altera DE2 board. And that's uses a Cyclone 2 FPGA. And the one off to the left, that's actually an Altera Cyclone 3 development board. Up top, I've got a Data I/O flash pack. This is like a special gang programmer for programming various different brands of flash memory. These units accommodate different adapters that you can insert and provide different sockets for programming the different flash chips. You just simply insert these into the inside and they lock down into place. A really amazing unit. Now if we just pan back here, we have all the different pieces of development equipment that I have. Right here is the SNASM 2 ISA card. This is a proprietary SCSI interface card used by Cross Products development kits. This one here that you can see is of course the Super Nintendo development kit. This is the cartridge interface and has a side port for connecting a donor cartridge to gain access to the security chip. It connects to the SNASM control interface 65816. Here you can see the Cross Products manuals for this kit. And it has the SNASM 2 logo there. And we've got the development system software disks inside. The manual, of course, has all this setup information, configuration for both the hardware and software. A really cool piece of kit, to say the least. Actually, stored underneath here, I'll show this to you. This is the Game Boy Flash Gang Writer for both the Color Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance. It's pretty much identical to the NU64 Flash Gang Writer with the SCSI interface ports on the back and the dip switches and your main power switch. You're able to program different types of Game Boy Flash cartridges like this unit here. You simply insert them into the cartridge socket and you run through the software to program or dump the different cartridges. The neat thing about these units is that they can program cartridges simultaneously. Here we have the cartridge interface for the Sega Saturn CartDev development kit. And the interface cables, as well as the main unit here. And I've shown this one before, so chances are a lot of you have seen this. Unique thing about this is it's the Rev A model, which was not as common. On the back we can see it has the standard SCSI interface ports, a selector switch, as well as an auxiliary interface port. And if we pan over a little further to the left, we have my robotics programming station. Got a keyboard here, as well as the robot controller and the teach pendant, which has a series of little toggle switches, speed control, and that's for just doing manual control when you need to position the robot. I've also got these interface modules, which usually go on the bottom underneath the controller. But it allows you to program and do a series of different programs for the robotics unit, as well as manual control. So here I'll just give you a quick little demo, manually moving the robot around. The different toggle switches control all the different axes, and we can just do some simple maneuvers here. And that's the pneumatic gripper that I just built. It's a very little crude little pneumatic gripper, but it does serve the purpose. There we go. And we can just move. Getting this is a little tricky at first. You start to invert the axes in the direction of control, but once you get the hang of it eventually. There we go. We can also home the robot and enter a homing command, and then it runs through a series of different movements to home the robot. Here's a quick demo of a pre-programmed series of movements. The cool thing about this robot controller is it's able to communicate with external hardware over the RS-232 serial ports, like the ones shown here on these military PDA units. I got a bunch of these a while back and are extremely rugged little devices. And they have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, RFID readers, really cool little units. These units came with a Windows CE SDK, which allows you to develop some cool Windows CE programs for them, and taking advantage of all the different hardware interfaces that these provide. Really cool. Running a program here to control some external relays. Now, if we move to the other side of the lab, up towards my soldering bench, kind of a weird computer there with a purple stripe on it. That's bizarre. So as we creep up towards the soldering station, you can see all the different gear that I have here. It's a little bit smaller than the last bench I had, but I've had to sort of make changes and accommodate the different locations that I have. But I still have all of the needed equipment for when I'm doing soldering rework. I have my Agilent multimeter and power supply, and you can also see a series of different tools here and chemicals that I have. Some isopropyl alcohol, Flux EF6100. It's actually a wave solder, but it's freaking awesome. I also have my paste desoldering station, my Hako FR802 rework unit for doing hot air, and my trusty Weller soldering station, my Tektronix signal generator, and my Agilent 500 MHz digital oscilloscope. So I have the SNASM control interface on the bench here, doing a battery replacement on this. After opening this unit up, it was really cool to discover that they used stacked RAM modules inside these units. These are SRAM memory modules that are built by hand, where a technician would solder and stack individual SRAM chips on top of one another, and they interface a 7400 series control device to tie into all the chip enable lines on each individual RAM chip. It's kind of an old school way of expanding the SRAM capacity on a system, but it's really cool to see here in these development kits. And backing away, there's some other test equipment under the bench. But that about sums it up for my lab tables. And of course, just all the massive amounts of storage space I have on these two heavy-duty shelving units that I got from Home Depot. Pretty awesome. Now, if we pan back to the center of the lab, you guys have probably been eyeballing this unit throughout the tour. But this is my SGI ONYX Super computer from 1993. These units cost 250 grand back in the 90s and weigh in at around 200 pounds. These monstrosities were used by companies like Rare Limited back in the 90s to essentially run an OpenGL based simulator to allow them to test games before the N64 console was even built. So it was a pretty cool little piece of history in terms of N64 game development. I have been meaning to do a hardware and software demo on this unit for quite a long time, but I still do plan on doing that. So definitely subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, just so you don't miss anything. So that is a wrap, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Lots of fun. All the cool projects that I've been working on lately, just so pumped. The ArtSend, SNES, Sega Saturn, 3DS. Man, there's a lot on the table right now. But just, I'm so excited and pumped to be able to work on these. So I got to thank my supporters. I really do appreciate all the help, guys. You know, it's allowing me to work on all this cool stuff and apply my expertise in all the different areas of electronics, software, and it's so awesome. And so I really, really thank you guys for that support and for all your help. So that's a wrap, guys. Hit the like and subscribe if you can. That is always appreciated. And we will see you in the next video. Take it easy and bye for now. Ciao.